Everyone, I'd like to point out that yesterday Hannah told me we were going to film this video and we each made lists, or we're supposed to make lists, and I'm the one who has mine done, not her.
Welcome back!
I was going to say that. Actually, I was going to say, hey guys! Welcome back to today's video. Today, we are comparing our struggles.
Yep,
I'd
pretty
like to point out,
much.
this is not a competition to see who has it worse. It's not.
We're comparing.
We're comparing.
Because why not?
So I have worse vision than Hannah, and she has worse hearing than I do. So we're going to compare the struggles of somebody who's visually impaired and somebody who's hard of hearing.
So let's get right into it. Okay, so our first topic, point, whatever you want to call it, for me, as hard of hearing struggle, which is more specifically in my case, having only hearing on my one side, is headphones, especially ones with wires, because as me and Emilee know, when sharing headphones, if I have the right one in and not the left one, then obviously it doesn't work, so I always have to have the left one in to be able to hear stuff, which means that if I'm sharing headphones with somebody, then I have to give them the left one, which I've never actually used, like, Bluetooth headphones, so obviously having a cord is always the problem, and just, like, you know, you have to be sitting on the right side.
I feel like
just...
headphones with cords are just struggles for, like, anybody.
But
That's a good one. My first point was not being able to see things sometimes, and I'm sure you can relate to that with, like, hearing. Like, sometimes just, it's frustrating to not, like, be able to hear that thing or, like, see that thing. But then also, like, not being able to explain what I can see to people. Because the amount of people who, like, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, so, like, what can you see? And I'll be like, I literally don't know how to explain it. I can explain it medically. Like, I'm 20/200. I have condition-free light sensitivity. But, like, it's so hard. Like, some visions you can, like, simulate through, like, goggles and stuff. Mine you can't. Like, it's weird. Like, sometimes I can see things, sometimes I can't. A lot of times it depends on, like, lighting and, like, the area that I'm in. But it's, like, really hard sometimes.
Yeah, and just, like, relating to that and adding to that, like, for me it's a lot easier to explain just being like, yeah, I don't have any vision or any hearing on my one side. Yeah, but at the same time it is interesting because people will, like, sometimes, like, put their hand over their eye and be like, oh, this is what you see, but it's actually a bit different because when you, like, close your one eye or put your hand over it, you see darkness, you see nothing. But for me, it's not like I see that darkness over there. It's literally like you take the span of vision that you have, your peripheral vision, just shrink it down and angle it to the one side, kind of.
Although when you only close, like, one eye, like, I don't see the black. I see what I see out of this eye. I just, like, almost don't pay attention over here. Like, I don't see, like, half of, like, what I would see black. Like, I focus on just, like, what I can see.
Whoa.
Like, if I close both my eyes, then I'm like, yes, I see, like, black, or, well, I can see, like, light stimulus and whatever. But,
I guess I take that back then.
But when you only close one, like, you just focus on the one thing. Also, when I close one eye, like, I literally can't see much.
The things you learn every day. I'm still learning about other people's vision, so it's really interesting.
Not knowing who someone is when they walk into a room. This is such a, like, thing, like, because I've worked in places with a lot of blind people, and you walk up and you say, hi, it's Emilee, and continue your conversation. But that doesn't happen in the real world. So a lot of times when people walk into the room, I can be, like, halfway through a conversation with somebody. I've had full conversations with people, and then at the end I've been like, I have no clue who that was. But if they had come up to me and said, like, oh, hey, it's blah, 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 so-and-so, then, like, no, then I would know. But, like, that's one right there.
Yeah. I just want to add to that again because I have, like, a story which I told you about of a really nice teacher that we are both familiar with. And I was walking down the hall and they were walking the other way in school. And I was looking at them and I didn't know who they were because they were so far away. And literally as she was walking up to me, she was like, hey, like, and she basically like said who she was. I'm just like, oh, that's who you are, and it was just.
You're like, that's great. I
Yes.
wish more people would do that.
Oh my god, it was such a relief, and it just made me feel so like really warm and fuzzy inside, knowing that like she knew us and she knew to do that.
Yeah.
So hard of hearing struggle number 2 is group conversations, especially in high school, in like hallways and stuff, when you have like other like side conversations and stuff in like party areas, and when there's like a million conversations going on. It is so hard because you have to like listen to everyone. You have to like figure out who's talking, especially when it's like somebody's in the middle of a thought and then somebody kind of like jumps in and starts speaking something else, and you have to so quickly change your focus and focus on what that person is saying, especially because hard of hearing can sometimes be a more mind related thing, of that you have to comprehend what that person is saying the same way that your eyes have to comprehend what you're seeing. So sometimes it just takes a minute to like, because there's so many voices and like so many potential speakers that you have to pay attention to at the same time, and you have to like, I don't know, it's kind of like if you have a one-on-one conversation, you're just focusing on that person, where in a group you have to focus on like so many people and you don't know when they're going to talk or what they're going to say, and it's so much to comprehend.
I find that a little bit with the visual side of things too, because I already like can't see, and if I go into like a loud environment or like a busy environment, sometimes you're trying to have a conversation with someone, and if it's really loud around you, all of a sudden like you couldn't see them before, now you can't hear them, and it becomes a little bit of a barrier to communication kind of thing, where it's just...
Yeah, I've definitely been to a few like parties and stuff where it's like I completely have to leave because there's so much
going on.
Yeah, like so much noise and so many people and everything. It's just a frustrating place.
Hi, my name's Emilee and I'm legally blind. How many fingers am I holding up? This happens so much. Even when I tell people that I'm like colorblind, they're like, what color is this? And I'm like, I just told you that I don't know.
And I feel
it's so frustrating.
I feel that frustration with you, like for you, like people some days, like really.
Like I get it if you're like asking like, oh, what can you see? But to like just straight up be like, how many fingers am I holding up? Like that's not gonna tell you anything. It's so rude.
And that definitely also happens with being single-sidedly deaf, is I've had not just random people, more like friends and family will come up to my right side, like whisper something to me, and they'll be like, can you hear that?
Can you hear me?
I can, because you're speaking into my good ear. But it's also like sometimes, even though you're speaking into my right ear, my left ear still like picks something up, because like it's so quiet, I'm trying to listen, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's stupid, because it's like, yeah, like we've established as I can't hear out of that ear, it's not gonna change, and that test does not work, because obviously I can hear it out of my left ear.
Yeah, exactly.
Next, hard of hearing struggle, hearing tests. So for hearing tests, if you don't know, they basically put you into a booth, you have headphones on, and sometimes it's like, you know, what did they say, or like press a button when you hear stuff, which is very different to the real world, because in hearing tests, it's like you're intentionally trying to listen as hard as possible and everything else is quiet. So it's like, can you hear this sound, where it's like you're intentionally paying attention because you want to do well on this test, obviously. But it's very different in the real world, because you're not always paying attention to when everybody's going to speak and always listening for the sounds that could happen. And it's very different because, you know, you could be walking down a hallway or something and somebody starts speaking to you, and obviously you don't pick it up right away because you weren't expecting that, you weren't waiting for it, you weren't paying attention to if somebody would speak. And that's a big thing, is sometimes people just like, if someone just comes up to you and starts speaking really fast, it takes me a minute to comprehend what you just said a second ago, because obviously I need to comprehend what you said. And also it's just it's frustrating, because it's so different. You always have to be expecting someone to speak, or it's like if you don't expect it, then you have to be like, wait up, hold up, stop, start again, you have my attention now, start speaking.
She getting fired up. It kind of leads into my next point, where for visual kind of struggles, eye fatigue, because it, like, I don't think people understand that people who are blind or visually impaired get tired so much faster because it takes us so much more energy to, like, focus on something or, like keep our attention. Like, a lot of times our eyes are like, okay, I'm tired now, I'm gonna go, like, I take a nap. I take so many naps. But, like, it is the fact that you have to focus a little bit harder on everything to, like, see, like, little things. Like, I can't just easily see the other side of the room. I have to, like, squint, and I'm constantly doing that, and it's so exhausting. I can see that with hearing, too, where if you were constantly listening for people, even though you know people aren't speaking to you, it just takes more energy.
Yeah, and also me relating to visually impaired struggles, having one eye, sometimes it's like, because it's awkward only having one eye, it's like if your one eye gets tired or like really dry sometimes, it's like sometimes you can't just blink, you have to like kind of close your eyes, and that's kind of weird because it's not like I can just like rest my one eye for a minute because my one eye is doing the work of two. And sometimes I'm just like, my eyes needs to like close for a minute and like rehydrate and everything. And sometimes if you're in that public space, then you can't always like take the time to like rest your eyes. Or
it's also the fact that because of eye fatigue, like, it takes us longer to do things. So that's also consuming more of our energy. A little bit more of a kind of struggle there is that we have to take like double time to get assignments done and tests because it takes us longer to read things. It takes us longer to like write and do that. So yeah. So lastly, we both kind of relate to this one of just the stereotypes that come along with being visually impaired or hard of hearing. Like, people think, oh, you're blind, you see nothing, or you're not hard of hearing, you're deaf, so you hear nothing. But that's not the reality. Obviously, dealing with those things, we've done a separate video on that one, so you guys can go watch that. And otherwise, that concludes our visually impaired struggles versus
hard of hearing struggles.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you here next week.
Bye!